DJEsports is a crypto-focused betting site that is being heavily promoted by esports influencers such as Thorin, Nothing, and Monte Cristo, and even websites such as Dexerto and HLTV. I have previously made 2 other videos on this website, but I wanted to have this one to cover all the information that I currently have. I tried to contact influencers to alert them of my situation through a bunch of different methods: email, Discord, Twitter messages. I even messaged Thorin's mods on Discord to ask him to alert him of the situation, and bought his Patreon package to have the ability to directly message him on that platform. But so far I have had no luck at a response. Now, I'm not blaming directly any of the influencers in this video. My whole case is directed at DJEsports. I just wanted to show that I have tried my best to make contact with the people currently promoting the site. So an update here is that I did end up receiving a reply from Thorin on Patreon after the first half of this video was already completed. However, he has now blocked me and I can no longer contact him. I'll explain how this situation happened later in the video. To set the scene, DJEsports closed my account with 1.1 to 1.2 Bitcoin in my account balance, and has only offered to pay out 0.26 Bitcoin of this. The amount that Bitcoin is worth at the time of making this video is between £46,000 to £51,000. The reasons they have given me for account closure through official communications are the following: heavily exploiting Tier 2 and Tier 3 matches to turn a profit, and then using these profits to play on Tier 1 matches, and having a portfolio that significantly deviates from that of a normal player. However, despite these reasons they have given, I firmly believe that I have done absolutely nothing wrong and will present my full case in this video. I initially signed up to DJEsports on the 18th of July 2021 through a Thorin video and immediately started placing bets on their site. I encountered a couple of issues before the bigger issues began, which aren't really a bigger part of this whole story, but I will quickly cover them now. The first issue I encountered was my balance not updating after winning bets had been settled. This could have been problematic if I didn't notice it. However, I messaged a moderator who assured me they would keep a close eye on my account to make sure this didn't happen again. The second issue was a bit worse. It involved being paid another customer's withdrawal into my Bitcoin wallet. And whilst this should have never been allowed to happen by them, I was simply told to deposit the Bitcoin back onto the site, and this problem had been quickly resolved. So I'm now going to get into the DJEsports terms of service and what led to me getting banned and refused payout from DJEsports. Whilst I was using their site, they had 2 versions of their TOS. The first version is shown here from September 2nd, which is completely blank with no mention of anything to do with the tiering system. The bigger problem started in early October when I tried to process a 0.5 Bitcoin withdrawal from DJEsports. This was declined, and after contacting their live support, they told me I would have to bet more on Tier 1 games and raise my Tier 1 percentage on my account to make a withdrawal of that size. The main problem with what they were asking is that on the terms of service on DJEsports, whilst my account was active on the site and not closed down, they had absolutely no clear guidelines at all for what I was being required to do, and eventually my account was closed whilst trying to fulfill these requirements. I will now cover the terms of service that was on their site that was displayed before my account got closed and point out 4 clear major issues. This TOS only makes mention and tiers League of Legends tournaments and makes no other mention of other esports. However, I bet exclusively on CSGO and Valorant on my account. There is no mention of any percentage number for Tier 1 betting and Tier 1 betting requirements in this TOS. I was told by Trance, who is a support moderator, that I would need a 65% Tier 1 betting rate, meaning that 65% of my bets should be on Tier 1 games, and also 50% of my winnings should come from Tier 1 games. However, in this TOS, it makes no mention of any percentage numbers. The tiering system states that by betting exclusively on Tier 3 games, players can run the risk of triggering the risk compliance system. But I did not exclusively bet on Tier 3 games, and I was betting actively on Tier 2 and Tier 1 matches. Number 4, it makes absolutely no mention that accounts will be closed for the reasons I was given in my account closure email and the follow-up email, which were exploiting Tier 2 and Tier 3 matches to turn a profit, and then using these profits to play on Tier 1 matches, and having a portfolio that significantly deviates from that of a normal player. I will now let the rest of the clip of the terms of service play out. I will then move on to my account closure and the email and communications I have received from DJEsports since. So between the 19th and 20th of October, I was suddenly unable to sign into my account, and I messaged the live support and members of the support team many times to find out, what was going on. I was told that it was just website issues and everything would be resolved, but on October 24th, I finally got told to check my email, and on screen is the email that I'd received from them. So my account had been closed, and they were pretty much offering me 25% of the total balance from my account, which were only my winnings from Tier 1 matches. And the reason for the account closure given in this particular email was exploiting Tier 2 and Tier 3 matches to turn a profit and using these profits to play Tier 1 matches. So I'd first like to ask DJ Esports to publicly or privately explain what do they mean, as all bets that I placed were completely legitimate and I openly challenge them to prove otherwise. I encourage them to publicly release my bet history and point out which Tier 2 and Tier 3 matches I have exploited, as I will defend myself against any allegations of being involved in match fixing. I've bet on thousands of different games and hundreds of teams on their website, and a good percentage of my volume was on Tier 1 events. And if it's not because of suspicions of this, and just the fact that I was betting on lower tier matches, why did they wait almost 4 months to contact me to start betting on Tier 1 events? And it doesn't really explain why my account would have been closed, and I've shown what the terms of service look like, and so how am I supposed to interpret all this and know this information? So a day before I got banned, actually on the 18th of October, I actually reached out to a member of DJ Esports support asking if they would allow me to withdraw my funds without having to reach the 80% T1 rate, as I would have to, bet through the major to complete this, bet a lot on the major, and if I didn't hit the 80% on the major, I would have to wait a long time after that for the next Tier 1 event. And, you can see the reply that I got was I would be allowed to continue betting on Tier 1 matches, and as long as I get to that 80% Tier 1 rate, I'm fine to withdraw any amount. So the second piece of official communication that I received from DJ Esports is this email. And there's a lot to unpack here, but it pretty much opens up with saying that we have determined that your ban was due to your portfolio heavily deviating from that of a normal player. So this seems to be the most up-to-date reasoning, and based on everything that I've shown so far in this video, you can make up your own mind whether this ban was fair or not. Just to clarify, I don't mind that my account is being banned, as this is, pretty standard for sportsbooks to limit or suspend winning players from their site, as a business move. However, what I am angry at is that they are still required to pay out the full winnings/account balance, and DJ Esports are refusing to do this. And it then says they'll be opening my case to the public with all information and data to make a decision on this ban. And I'll touch on this in a bit, but I would also like DJ to release my full betting history and everything, even if they don't go ahead with this vote, to everyone, so everyone can clearly go through my bets. They can see that I made bets across thousands of matches, hundreds of teams, and I would give them full permission to release this publicly, all my betting history, and I think it would be in both of our best interests, because if they strongly believe in their case, then, that's even better for them. The last sentence of this paragraph states that communications with your account were blocked due to multiple cases of harassment of our employees. And this is a complete lie, and I'll be releasing my full Discord logs with all the moderators that I contacted from DJ Esports in a file below this video, so you can go through them yourself and verify that. So this second part of the email was outlining a plan that they came up with to have community holders of their DAO governance token, which I believe is a crypto token, to vote on my case and to make a decision on my ban, which means they will decide whether I should be able to receive my full funds or not once I get my account back. DJ would be providing some information on this case, and this is about as much information that I have on this, this full email, so feel free to read through. I responded to this email on the same day, this was over 2 weeks ago at this point, and I expressed to them a bunch of issues that I had with my ban and thought that this voting system was just not the right way to go about it, and encouraged them just to pay me out. So this is the very last piece of communication that I received officially from DJ Esports. On screen now is their new terms of service page that was adjusted sometime after October 25th. The recording of their old terms of service page, used previously in the video, was from October 25th. Therefore, we know it was adjusted sometime afterwards, and my account was banned officially through email on October 24th, but I had been locked in and out of it since October 19th to 20th. So this new TOS was implemented after my ban, and in my opinion, this was a cheap attempt, in my eyes, to pretend like it had been displayed this way the whole time. And as you can see if you read through, it now fixes many of the previous issues that I had with the old terms. It still doesn't address why my account would have been banned and refusal of paying out my account balance. They also changed their compliance information in their Discord channel on October the 22nd. It is very similar to their TOS, but it has a few extra things mentioned, and once again just feels like a way for them to cover up for their mistakes that they made and act like these are rules that have been here all along. So here's a quick summary of what's happened so far. My account was banned with 1.1 to 1.2 Bitcoin in my balance, and they were only offering to pay out 20% of this. The reason for my account ban has never been made clear to me. However, through non-official communication with DJEsports, such as smaller conversations with their support staff, and also later posts that they've made, it's been hinted at that they suspect the users that they have banned of match fixing. I'm innocent, and once again my winnings came from hundreds of teams and thousands of games, which is why I so desperately want them to post my bet history public. The two versions of their TOS, from the initial recording September 2nd, which I showed earlier, and then the one that was used up until my account ban, these show that they have no grounds to refuse payout and they're clearly abusing their position. Even asking me to participate in this tiering nonsense was bad enough. Banning me whilst I'm fulfilling these requirements is absurd. After my ban, they then adjusted their TOS and their compliance info in their Discord to try and cover for themselves. And my account should still not be banned under these new retroactively applied terms of service. I was not the only one affected by this ban and refusal of my account balance. I will now be talking about the other two people who received the same email that I received. Both have not been able to access their accounts since, or paid out their account balance. Both me and Person 2 bet exclusively on CSGO and Valorant, whilst Person 1 bet on most esports such as Dota, CSGO and League. Person 1, whose received email from DJEsports is currently on screen, had 3.3 Bitcoin in his account before it was closed, and Person 2 had $40,000 US dollar tether. Total between them two is £145,000. Both have received almost no communication from DJEsports since the ban. The last time Person 1 was contacted officially was on the 2nd of November, and Person 2 has not been contacted since the ban email was sent to him. They both signed up on site whilst the old terms of service were still in effect. I will now show the sign up email from Person 1, and banned at around the same time that I was. Now obviously I cannot directly speak on the legitimacy of their bets, but they have both assured me multiple times that they have not been involved with anything to do with match fixing, and I believe them based on how I was treated as a legit winning customer. A last thing to note is that we were all contacted at different times about this tiering system applying to our respective esports. I was messaged in early October, as shown earlier in the video, whilst Person 2 was contacted mid-September after a failed withdrawal, as you can see here. The last section of this video will be talking about the licensing situation surrounding DJEsports. They currently claim to be operating under a POGO license, which is issued by the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, or PAGCOR for short. PAGCOR is 100% government owned and controlled, so I'll mostly be using information PAGCOR has provided to me. I've done a lot of digging into this license topic, but it is very possible that some of the information that I provide on the licensing side may not be 100% accurate. At the very least, I'll try my best to explain my point of view on this whole license situation. So during my time playing on the site, the way DJEsports displayed their license was slightly different at the top of their footer. After my account was closed, they actually removed the text about the licensing completely until finally adjusting it to the POGO license you see on their site now. I'm assuming they meant to have the POGO license displaying the entire time, but just keep in mind that this text at the bottom is not proof of their license, it is just text. Their POGO license is supposedly owned by their parent company, and DJEsports is just operating as a gaming website under this license. I'll discuss this more in a minute. After my account was closed, and they refused to pay out my account balance, I contacted PAGCOR to make an official complaint about a gaming website operating under the POGO license. The reply that I got from PAGCOR is that the subject website, DJEsports.io, was not registered under any of the licensees. Licensees are the companies that hold the POGO license. DJEsports had to be operating under one of them, And this is where I got the information from my second update video that I made, and this is where the information, initially came from. After I got this reply from PAGCOR, we asked DJ Esports repeatedly on live support to provide proof of their license. They would always promise a follow-up email, but no one would ever receive one. So at this point in time, PAGCOR had assured me through multiple email exchanges that DJ Esports was not licensed by them. So unless PAGCOR was making a mistake, DJ Esports would be operating illegally. After showing all this information to a well-respected individual in the industry, he made contact with DJ Esports, who then agreed to send him the parent company name and some documents. I'm not sure on the exact details as he was not able to share any of this information with me, but he cross-referenced the parent company name with the POGO list on the PAGCOR website and confirmed to me that the parent company was on this list. At this point, I was extremely confused. Why did PAGCOR have no idea who DJ Esports were? DJ Esports is a gaming site that's operating under one of their licenses, apparently. I sent a follow-up email to PAGCOR asking if they knew the full list of gaming websites operating under their POGO license. On screen is the email I received back. But yes, they do know of every single gaming site. I even phoned them up multiple times to confirm this. So either PAGCOR, the government-owned licensing body, is lying to me and multiple others on multiple occasions, and DJ Esports is actually a registered gaming site under their license, or DJ Esports forgot to register their website under their parent company's POGO license. So keep in mind, I have personally not seen proof of this parent company. A third-party journalist that I trust enough verified this to me. However, still, this means very little if they don't go ahead and register themselves under PAGCOR. They are refusing to share any details to customers about their license or parent company, and if PAGCOR doesn't recognize DJ Esports as a licensed site, there is currently no possible way to submit complaints about DJ Esports. They are their own boss and they're following no rules or regulations, just doing whatever they want. I contacted PAGCOR originally to make a complaint, and you've seen how this turned out. Here is a quick summary for the licensing part. I contacted PAGCOR, the government-owned licensing body, to make a complaint about DJ Esports after being refused payout. They replied that DJ Esports is not licensed under any of their licensees multiple times. DJ Esports refuses to provide proof of their POGO license on live chat or otherwise, even promising follow-up emails that never get sent. A trusted third-party individual tells me that their parent company owns a POGO license. I was not allowed to know the parent company name or shown any proof of this. However, let's believe that this is true. This still does not mean that DJ Esports is licensed or operating legally, as according to PAGCOR, they know all of the gaming sites that are under their licenses. This was confirmed to me in an email which I showed earlier, but also in phone conversations with the offshore gaming department at their office. Lastly, there is no way for customers to submit complaints to DJ Esports. I tried to do this initially, but now I have to rely on these videos. So the first 18 minutes that you just watched was completed on the 26th of November. It's now the 9th of December, which is nearly 2 weeks later, and there's been so many reasons why this video is still being edited and not released yet. So I'm going to touch on that first. So once we finished the video initially on the 26th, the first 18 minutes that you just watched, we sent it over to the DJ Compliance Discord and email, and I also sent it to Thorin and Patreon. The Discord message is on the screen, it's the same email that I sent, and I'm going to explain that first. We gave them 48 hours to fix the issues addressed in this video, or give feedback, point at parts that might be unfair to include. This was mostly the license situation, because I believe the rest of the case is just 100% on them. I was hoping maybe they'd provide their parent company or further proof of license, which they haven't provided to me. And we said that we were going to put the video public. However, this is a mistake sort of that we made. We sent the video on the Friday, which it's coming up to the weekend, and for the next 2 days we didn't see the compliance Discord online once. On the 28th, I sent the message and said we would wait until the 30th, which is the Tuesday, and we were planning on posting the video on the 30th. And then a bunch of stuff ended up happening. They updated their compliance info in their Discord 1 day after we sent the video, which included a ton of new stuff, and pretty much felt like it was very reflective of the video that we sent them. However, we didn't even find out about this update until the 30th, because we're all banned from the Discord, and a third party actually ended up sending it to us. And I obviously wanted to include this part in the video. It's a big change. And then I ended up having a conversation that was hopefully going to be arranged with Thorin. He replied to me on Patreon. And more things ended up happening, which you'll see. And I felt like all this stuff needed to be included in the video, as it really improves my case here. And I don't want this video to be half-assed and miss out on important details. So we kind of decided not to post the video for now, and to just work on this video a bit more and try and include everything. So next I'm going to move on to the Thorin saga and everything that happened with that. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I did reach out to Thorin on Patreon, and he ended up responding after the video was edited. He responded on the 26th of November. This was right before I sent the email and Discord messages to DJ Compliance, but like I said, right after I finished editing the first 18 minutes. His reply says that Patreon won't charge me until early next month, and he usually waits until the 5th to be sure they've billed everyone. He'll get back to me around then and we can arrange a conversation, and he said that he'd watched the video before then. So eventually he did kick me off his Patreon and blocked me, and it removed my DM conversation with him, so I don't have access to that. But I did screenshot this reply before it happened, and I'm pretty sure I remember the other 6 messages that I sent him. I think I sent him 6 total. 4 of them were just information and videos about DJEsports. I would edit the videos down from the initial video I sent him, which is the public video on my channel. You can compare the URL, I think. So it would explain, the situation better if I edited it down, explained it better. And we're working on this new video anyway, and planning on going public with it. So I would just send him, each time I drafted it. The 5th message I sent him was just showing that they changed their compliance info. This would have been around the 30th of November, and I'll cover the compliance info later on. And the last DM that I sent him before I was blocked was on the 5th or the 6th of December, right before it happened, and it was just telling him that I was going away on the 8th of December, and I felt like this was a really urgent matter. It's an accusation about his main sponsor scamming people, yet he was just still promoting them in his content like usual. So I have no clue if he ended up watching the video. I can't speak on that. However, I do have an answer to why he probably blocked me. A whole 6 minutes before it happened, I sent this tweet as he was, replying to a ton of people on Twitter, and I was just kind of, getting annoyed that I wasn't getting a reply to sort this out. I said, "Hello Thorin, I DM'd you on Patreon with concerning information about your main sponsor. I would appreciate a recent reply back. This would probably be way more worth your time than calling out people on Twitter. Thanks." So, retrospect, I think that the second part of my tweet was just super childish. However, this caused him to block my support, also block me on Twitter, and he then sent me this second and last reply, which was, "Right, that's the limit for me. I won't be accepting your patronage. Your intentions are clear." My only intentions was to sort this situation out, but of course he won't see it in this way. So now, there's no way to contact him. He's still promoting them in his newest video from 13 hours ago. He has access to the video, the first 18 minutes that you watched. I did send that to him. And, he did say that he would watch it, but once again, I can't really comment on whether he did. But I'm just going to assume that he doesn't see fault from DJ Esports if he's still, promoting their site. And that's everything that I have on the Thorin situation. So this section might drag on a little, so if you're more interested in the license update, just skip to the next part. The compliance update posted by them on the 27th, which we got sent to us on the 30th because we're all banned from the DJ Esports Discord. I'm going to skim through it and then move on to the license update, which I said, which is the pretty wild part and definitely a big part of this, why this video hasn't come out yet and still going through it now. So the first paragraph here addresses the tiering system and the percentage requirement, and it says that it will not last forever. They're planning on removing it eventually, and then they give some percentage numbers for fraudulent games based on years of data, which I don't believe these numbers are accurate, so yeah, whatever. Following paragraph mentions that they will not take winnings away if they're legitimate. Clearly isn't true because I'm legitimate and they took my winnings away. And this part here is kind of confusing. People are only punished when their winnings comprise of these sketchy and even potentially fraudulent matches. And this just reads really weird to me. Why wouldn't they just say fraudulent? Why are they making it sound like they're not even sure themselves? So next part says that they've had fraudulent users abusing errors in systems that gave them an opportunity for a ton of betting on sketchy games, some live odds stuff, which I probably placed like 1 or 2 live bets on the site. The end reads that even sole participation in games that have a very high likelihood of lacking true competitive integrity. Keywords, sole participation, they class these games, the ones which lack true competitive integrity, as tier 2 games, tier 3 games. I was betting a lot on tier 1 as well. And once again, all of this probably going to be in control by them if they just lowered the limits on their lower games, which were misvalued. So then this next part is just terrible. False or fraudulent matches in esports are getting harder and harder to prove, and it doesn't help that there is close to no proactivity from relevant authorities. One of our ways to control and account for players' integrity is observing all bet tickets that are flowing through the book, observing any trends in abnormal bets, and comparing these anomalies, so I'm guessing they mean like big bets, high volume bets, across players and time. This is like so flawed. Like, what of a person like me, who has an edge in your market, and you guys are offering huge limits on these really, really terrible odds that are set by your traders? How can you compare my plus EV bets and my way of approaching things to a bunch of casual fun bettors just picking the team that they like? I'm betting for profit, and we're not even betting in the same way. They're just trying to pick their favorite team and, maybe get lucky, whatever. Um, Next paragraph, they talk about they don't destroy every ticket, which means they don't void all the bets on a match if they find it suspicious or suspect fraud. Instead, they would just settle as normal and only refund the extremely suspicious bets. I don't feel like I need to explain why this system is only benefiting them. So they take the money from the losing side on these quote-unquote the DJ Esports version of the fraudulent games, but the customers on the winning side, such as myself, on some of these that they're claiming are fraudulent, don't get the winnings paid out because my account got banned and I did not get the winnings. So they benefit greatly from the system working in this way. They're taking money from the losers still and not paying out the winners eventually. And they say that all the other sites will just destroy the tickets, take in the losing tickets, cancel the winning tickets, which I've never heard of this, at least from any of the European sportsbooks that I've ever used, and I've been through over 50. Maybe this is a thing in Asia, but like most people will just void all bets on the game before it starts if they, suspect some weird action or they suspect the match might be fixed. Or, following an investigation that has been done by a body like ESIC and the match in question was, turned out to be fixed. But, their system that they're talking about here, this only benefits them in the long run. At the bottom, before I move on to page 2, they say that the tiering system, the 80-80 percentage requirements, has upset many users, and they even use my local team's example that I had in my first video. And yeah, like no shit, this was obviously going to upset many of your users. Next page. They claim, once again, that they've paid out every legitimate customer, every legitimate players, and this is not true. I'm yet to be paid out, once again. 7 people sit on the ban list, and in early 2022, they're going to remove the 80-80 system. A system that they were defending to the end of the earth, and I quote this from their last compliance info: "What might seem like strict in terms of profit withdrawal requirements is actually better than what is done in the industry at large." So it's funny that they've just like 180'd now, and they're just planning on getting rid of it. Then there's some changes that are coming up, some KYC stuff might be added, stopping multi-accounting, all probably good stuff here. But this part here is really, really strange. So for all the players we've decided to ban, the review is still ongoing or will be reopened. So now they've said twice before that they've paid out every legitimate customer, and they're not replying to us. The timeframes I gave earlier in the video for the other 2 guys that are waiting for payout, and when I got that weird crypto email, zero communication. I've sent emails, I've sent Discord messages. This is just so weird that they wrote this here when I don't think they even believe this themselves. Like, why is this part in there? I don't think they're reviewing our cases still, and they've given us no communication. So that's all of this part of the compliance info. So now I'm going to move on to the license update. Okay, so talking about the license once again. Firstly, I'm not sure if I covered this earlier in the video, but the alert at the top saying that UK and the other countries can only use the play coins. This wasn't here when I was using the site. I made sure that I was able to use the site. They accepted my deposit, they sent me withdrawals, they never had a problem with me using the site. So just making this clear, they've added this recently after my account got banned, and I'm not sure whether they were even supposed to be accepting UK customers at the time. They're no longer displaying the POGO license text in their footer. It's now been replaced by an e-gambling Montenegro license, which I did some research. This license means very little, and I'm assuming they've only got this now so they have something to send to customers asking questions instead of the POGO license, which they could never provide. I did ask live support about the new license situation, but they had no information at all and told me to email DJ Compliance, which is pointless. I know I won't get a reply. This new e-gambling license can be purchased upfront for like 2 years, 1600 euros a month over 2 years. It means very little to have this license. At least if they were a confirmed POGO gaming operator, it's government owned, and PAGCOR, most likely going to be professionals, would deal with any complaints about the gaming site accordingly. Now, I got these license prices directly from the site that issues the license. Of course, they would have never taken the time to install an SSL certificate on this domain, which would remove the not secure next to this website URL, which I just found like hilarious. It literally takes like 15 seconds to do. This article, which I found on Google, I just Googled e-gambling license. So this licensor has become a haven for operators engaged in very questionable practices. This third paragraph isn't about DJ Esports, by the way, from 2014, but just thought it was funny and I'd mention it. So this group was found repeatedly claiming licenses they didn't own, going so far to fake a Curacao license, and they engaged in, changing terms and conditions after players had played, inconsistent terms and conditions. Just thought that was funny to mention that there was a site doing this under this very license, which DJ Esports is now owning. So yeah, overall, I have no idea what's going on at this point. I believe this license was, like the license between them two was created on December 1st. They acquired this license on December 1st, sorry. So I obviously already made my case about the POGO license before. PAGCOR telling me that DJEsports.io were not operating under them as a gaming operator, as a gaming site. They've now removed the POGO license from their site, and I won't be able to get any more info on this license situation from them. It seems to be that they're just using this e-gambling Montenegro one now. This looks extremely shady. Like, do not go near this shit. Okay, so this is like that outro. I'm just gonna be rambling for like a couple minutes. You can just click off now because the video is pretty much done at this point. Just wanted to bring up like a few points. Firstly, this whole situation was just super stressful. It was not worth it at all. Making the video was stressful, talking to people was stressful. All this shit was just not worth it whatsoever because obviously I'm not gonna get anything from this. And I also have no experience with, making videos like this or video editing in general. So, I didn't really do a good job and it took me a lot longer than it should have done. So if you want any updates like in the future, I probably won't have many because I sort of just want to be done with this now. But it may be if there's some updates, I'll post them on my Twitter, which is ReesePalBurner. I'll put that on screen now. So I've spoken to people outside of Thorin with reputable names in the esports industry. I'm not going to mention their names, but simply put, I've lost like so much respect for anyone in this industry really. Like, when a site is clearly fucking over their winning customers in this way, and there's so many question marks surrounding their license situation, I'm providing all this proof to people, and still that the journalists that I'm contacting could never understand where I was coming from. Or actually one of the two big journalists that admitted wrongdoing and wanted to set up a meeting with me, and then just like flat out ignored me for weeks. And then I'd message him again, he'd be like, yeah, I'll look into it, and then ignored me again. But, whatever. At this point, I'm just done with all this now. I want to put out this full video and just be done with it. I just want to be done with this whole situation. Move on. So, yeah, thanks for watching.